Alright, one review down, on to review number 2, which will be the 2014 Godzilla American, I guess, reboot, I would call it, not remake. And instead of boring you with trying to do the synopsis in my own words, I'll just read the brief one on the back here. This spectacular adventure pits Godzilla, the world's most famous monster, against malevolent creatures that, bolstered by humanity's scientific arrogance, threaten our very existence. Now I have a confession to make. As a child, and even now, I was a huge Godzilla fan. And I'm talking about the 1950s through the 1970s Godzilla movies, where the special effects were not great and you could tell it was guys in rubber suits, but I didn't care. I had so much fun watching those movies. And I didn't really watch the ones in the 90s all that much. I've seen a couple of them, but I'm more of a fan, like I said, of like the classic Godzilla movies. And when I heard that in 1998, when they were doing the first Godzilla remake, I got pretty excited. But we all know what a disappointment that turned out to be. In fact, I will not dignify that with a review on this channel. The only thing I will say is, yeah, Matthew Broderick says, yeah, that's a lot of fish. Well, you know what I say? That's a lot of crappy movie. There's your review. But anyway, that kind of turned a lot of people off to Godzilla, and he kind of stayed as a Japanese-only monster for so many, right up until about 2004, I'd say, with Final Wars. But then you started to hear that Legendary Pictures was doing a new Godzilla movie, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. And I'd heard little bits and pieces about it, but then it seemed to kind of go into developmental hell for quite a few years until they started showing pictures of what Godzilla was actually going to look like, some drawings, and that's when you knew it was real, it was coming. So I was psyched to finally see it. This movie stars Bryan Cranston, who most people know as Walter White from Breaking Bad, or Heisenberg. Aaron Taylor Johnson from Kick-Ass, and more recently from the second Avengers movie, Age of Ultron. And Elizabeth Olsen, also from the second Avengers movie. I think that's weird that they play husband and wife in this movie, and then they're brother and sister in that movie, but anyway, I'll review that movie at a different time. And also Ken Watanabe as your, I guess, token Japanese scientist that you would have in a normal Godzilla movie, and I love the fact that they had him there for that. I didn't see this movie in the theater, and I know it's a lot of people really liked it, but there were two main complaints. First of all, not enough Bryan Cranston, because the trailers that came out would have you believe that he was the main character, and that actually is not the case. I'm not going to spoil the movie for you. If you've seen the movie, you already know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen it, then I don't want to spoil any of the intricate plot points of it. But suffice to say, he's not in it all that long. And the second complaint is not enough Godzilla in the Godzilla movie. It concentrates more on the two new monsters. But in my opinion, it kind of sticks to the tradition of the 1954 Godzilla, and also kind of to the Jaws rule, where you don't really show the monster all that much. So that way, when you actually do see him, it's quite an event. So I respect the movie for trying to do that. But I do agree, I wish there was a little bit more Godzilla in this movie. Like I said, they concentrate more on these two new monsters, who are both called Mutos, which is massive unidentified terrestrial organisms. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, by the way. I don't have it right in front of me or anything. I'm doing this unscripted, so... But anyway, it concentrates more on them, and they seem to be more of the evil monsters, and Godzilla is actually a good guy in this movie. That's about as much spoiler as I'll give, but... he's here to kind of save the day for Earth to bring balance back to the Earth, kind of that whole deal. And I thought that was an interesting take, as opposed to just rehashing the 1954 plot where he's created by a nuclear explosion and it just attacks a city. Because the initial trailers showed it as him being the only monster in the movie, but then as you watch the movie, you'll know that that's not the case. I thought the acting was okay, like I said, and I wish there was more Bryan Cranston in the movie because he's definitely the best actor out of them, but he's not in the movie very much. Ken Watanabe did a pretty good job. Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's a good actor, so I'm not blaming him, but his character was kind of bland, just gung-ho army guy, You know the type if you know somebody who's in the army. But he did a good job with what he had to work with. The special effects in this movie I thought were really good too. Yeah, it's not quite the same as having the people in monster suits, but with a bigger budget that most movies have these days, you can get away with doing more computer graphics. And I just think that the monsters looked really, really good. I especially like the redesign of Godzilla. It's a tribute to the old look, but it's something different, as opposed to like the 1998 Godzilla, where he looked like just like a giant thin iguana with spikes on his back. And he breathes fire in this movie. It's great. I love it. For the little amount of screen time he has, he does everything you'd expect Godzilla to do. And overall, I thought this was a really, really, really good movie. Like I said, I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it when I just kind of blind bought it on Blu-ray, and I'm glad that I did. I have the 3D version of it, and it actually looks pretty good. But, I mean, you're not really missing anything if you're not watching it in 3D. But I do recommend getting the Blu-ray if you have a Blu-ray player, because it just looks amazing. All the detail and all the special effects just look great. So anyway, I'm trying to come up with a more creative rating system for movies, but out of 5, I would probably also give this one a 3.5 out of 5. It's not perfect, but I would definitely recommend watching it. It's a fun time. It doesn't go the disaster porn route that some of these big special effects movies go, like the Roland Emmerich movies like 2012 or Day After Tomorrow or Independence Day, stuff like that. But there is a lot of destruction, so like I said, I highly recommend it, and I'm kind of at a loss of words now because I'm still new at talking in front of the camera, so I apologize if I stutter a little, but like I said, 3.5 out of 5. I definitely recommend, giving it at least one look, if you only watch it once, that's probably enough, but I did enjoy this movie. High recommendation. Alright, this is NWO Reverend 96 signing out, and I will be back with another review soon.